Welcome. This is going to teach you about how to access the ePortfolio for the Masters of Advanced Nursing Practice or the Grad Dip students in mental health for the University of Melbourne. You go onto this site and the first thing you need to do is make sure you go to the exam.markwright.com.au. This is the site that will let you log in. Sometimes you go to a University of Queensland site or don't go to this site. Whatever you do, don't go here. Go to this site. So you'll go here, put in your login details that you would have been emailed, put in your password, and then you log in. And here we are. Now obviously I'm going to have a few more courses here than you will, because you're only written in to examine a particular cohort. So what you do is go to NURS 60016 Foundations in Mental Health. Select that course and then you'll come onto this page. So on this page you will notice that there are all the parts of the portfolio that we used to have on paper is now just electronically available. So we have the professional practice portfolio, and that part there is all the competencies. So those four domains are in that professional practice portfolio link there. Here again are the hurdles that they need to pass. So giving a client presentation to peers, you'll find the rubric in there. Needs for service or individual service treatment recovery plan, it's in there. Discharge planning, group facilitation, shift leadership and clinical teaching. So they're the hurdles that they need to complete during this semester, and in here is the domain. So let's work backwards. Let's have a look at the clinical teaching assessment. Click on there and here we come up here. This just lets you know that we are in fact at the clinical teaching session, just in case you've clicked the wrong box. Now what you do at this point is you select a student to examine. There we go. Now, if I'm certain that I'm the only one who's going to assess this student, I click there. Okay. Now the next thing is I want to select the item that I want to examine. Now for this particular examination, this clinical teaching assessment, there are two parts we need to assess the student on. One is their content and one is the presentation. So let's start with their content. Now, introduction. Did the student in delivering the content give an introduction? Well, yes, they did. Does clearly define the intention of the presentation, so therefore passes. Here we go, topic sequence. Does not logically develop the topic? Well, or not assess. So, yep, he does. So pass that. Here again, inadequate comprehensiveness of discussion or adequate comprehensiveness of discussion. Apart from being grammatically torturous, did the student, when discussing this education session, did they actually give, allow for enough discussion and comprehensive discussion? Well, it was adequate. Now remember, these hurdles are pass or fail. So that's all we're looking for, is a pass or fail on the hurdles. Now here's interesting. Understanding. The student demonstrated clear understanding of the topic, never demonstrated a clear understanding of the topic, sometimes demonstrated clear understanding of the topic, often did or constantly did. So I actually think that this person never, they just didn't understand, so I'm going to fail them on that. Emphasis. Did the person put the emphasis on the important points? Well, no, they didn't, so I'm going to fail them on that. This is all hypothetical, by the way. It's got nothing to do with that student I chose to begin with to access the system. Evidence base. Yes, did use an evidence base, that was good, and now I'll pass them on this because they had a satisfactory conclusion. So you can see you can use this kind of information here to determine whether they pass or fail. You can also write something in this now, in the free text feedback. You can say, who will I call this student? I'll say Jamie demonstrated enthusiasm. However, a greater understanding of the topic was needed. And I can write whatever I like in there. Okay. Now this, of course, will come back to me at the university, and I will then see this and see if this is a comment that should be released to the student or not. Most often it will be, because it's about giving them feedback. Now what you'll see here is I've answered all these questions, I've done them all. I'm going to say save item. please lock all criteria before starting. It won't let me save this until I've locked everything. So I need to go lock, lock, just by tapping on it. Each one needs to be locked. And what this means is that this student, now that I've locked everything there for content, if I now push save, nobody else can mark this student for this particular hurdle, this part of the hurdle requirement. Now this is great because it allows us to get the feedback there. It shows us very easily from rotation to rotation, from unit to unit, even across different services, which things a student has been marked off on already. This allows us to have a level playing field so all students have the same chance, rather than students perhaps saying, oh no, I wasn't marked on that, and getting somebody else getting a second chance at it. So it really shows us that there's a free playing field. So everything's locked, and right now I could click save. Again, here we are back on the home page, Foundations in Mental Health Nursing. We're selecting that course. All those hurdle requirements are pretty much the same. So discharge planning, there you go. You choose your student. Here we only have, on this one, we only have one criteria. And there you go. This one has a bit more feedback on it. So discharge transfer planning prepares for discharge and transfer. So preparation in days prior to discharge. This is worth 20% of this particular thing. So does conduct a supervised interview with consumer or guardian. Yep, did that. Does explore or does not explore issues surrounding discharge and transfer from the current treatment facility with the consumer or guardian. Well, yeah, did that. Does or does not assess the consumer. Oh, and I should point this out here, is that unfortunately in this system that we're using, the MarkRight system, it doesn't allow you to use apostrophes or colons or semicolons or dashes. Whoever's created the code has written it in such a way that it just gets rid of those. So it's not me that has bad grammar, although possibly I do. It's actually the MarkRight platform. It's written in such a way that those confounding variables that are often used in coding have been stripped out of the text. So I do apologise for that. Often it's just left a space so you know that there's supposed to be an apostrophe or something there. So anyway, assess the consumer's or guardian's knowledge regarding discharge transfer. Well, yeah, it does that. Consider financial arrangement. Yeah, it does that. Consider housing. Does that. Consider social supports. Yes. Consider follow-up treatments. Yes. Consider appointments. Whoops, forgot to organise that follow-up appointment. Consider outcome measures. Yeah, people always forget that, don't they? Acknowledge and address consumer thoughts, feelings and concerns. Well, yeah, it was really good at that. Acknowledge and address guardians' thoughts and feelings about. Who knows what that's doing there? We'll fix that. Yeah, did that. Does that. And now you can see, well, where am I going to rate this person's pass or fail? Well, most of the things here are choice, so yeah, they pass that. And then I'd lock it off. Then we go down to the next one, and the next, and the next, and the next. So you see how it's very simple in that way. It's just a checklist. And you can do it on your laptop or you can do it on your iPad. Again, I'm not saving that because I've just made it up. Okay, the domains are a bit harder to find your way around. So you select your course again, you go into the professional practice portfolio, and here are the domains that we look at. So the first domain is functions in accordance with legislation, common law, and professional codes of ethical principles. So there you're going to find your ethics and law questions. Domain 2 is about reflective practice. So there are going to be the requirements regarding recognising own abilities and level of professional and clinical competence. And the other is engages in and contributes to research-based evidence. Research-based evidence of practice. Part 3 is about clinical practice. So part 1 is about maintains a physical and psychosocial environment which promotes safety, security and optimal health. Domain 3, part 2 employs effective communication skills to guide and achieve optimal outcomes. Domain 3, part 3 demonstrates coordinated and effective consumer care based on sound theoretical reasoning. And then down to the last domain, so domain 4, part 1, teamwork, and domain 4, part 2, pardon me, creates a supportive environment for nursing colleagues. So they're the same domains we've had in the paper portfolio, but broken down. Now I do apologise that it might seem a bit clunky until you kind of remember what the domains are. But this page will always turn up when you click on that portfolio link. So let's pick reflective practice. So you choose from the drop-down menu, and then here you'll see that these have weightings, how much each one is worth. Sometimes it's a very even spread where these are all equal in their amount. And in fact, now that I say that out loud, I think most of them are. So draws on sound theoretical knowledge to underpin practice, yes. Practice is in accordance with changing policies, yes, very good. So often see them reading the mental health legislation and the DSM-5. Identifies areas of practice where further evidence knowledge may be indicated. Not necessarily staying up to date with that. So then yet again, remember to lock these off before you save. And there you go. Easy done. You can add your comments there. Now, some of these, again for mental health nursing, some of these domains in the professional practice portfolio have more than one drop down that you have to do. So here, for example, we're now going to the professional domain 1. So here we are in domain 1, and you'll see there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 criteria that need to be rated for this student. So the student needs to pass all these 4 things in order to pass. So if we've he demonstrates an accurate and comprehensive knowledge of the legislation nursing practice, click that. There's our domain. Again, it's the same, clicking all those boxes, giving them some feedback, locking everything off, and don't remember always to save when you leave. Going back to the station again. So I was under here, wasn't I? Come back. So I've done that one. Now I have to do this one. And there it is again. So here's a new one. This is item 2. Consistently and independently fulfills the duty of care in the course of nursing practice. So click that, lock, write your blurb on them, save item. Back to station. Domain 1. So we've done the first 2 now for this page. Always remember, for each student, I've been calling them patients. How embarrassing. For each student, choose your student, lock them in. Now we're up to the 3rd one. There's 1, 2, 3. Here we go. There it is, item 3. Consistently, comprehensively complies with the Code of Ethics and Code of Practice. There's those items again. There's a few more on that. Click, lock, comment, save. Back again. Here we go. Choose the student. We're on finally the last item of that domain. There it is, accepts responsibility. And there we have it. Now click, write your comment, save, and then that's done. So that's all there is to the ePortfolio. What happens then is once you've done that, all of that pops up on my computer here at the university, and I get to read through and get some pretty good feedback about how that student's going. That can then lead me to really focus things in the lectures a bit more related to what's actually happening in their clinical arena. It also allows you and I to have communications a lot sooner about anything that you would like us to engage in here, and vice versa. The other thing that it does is then we click a button over here and the student gets an email with all that detail in it. So it gives them full detail about what you have selected. It gives them feedback, so those feedback options, it says where it said did not or does not, did or doesn't, whatever it happens to say, those will get emailed to the student. So you heard a little bing there. That was my little computer telling me that somebody's been on MarkWrite and been playing with assessments. So that's all there is to it. If you have at any stage any concerns, just contact me and I'm happy to go through it with you. And as I said before, I'm happy to come out and run it in services with the team if it gets a bit complicated. But as I say, worst case scenario is when you click on something here and you can't work it out and you go, all right, I know this one here, we choose that, and you can't work out, can't make it do anything, you can always print version and fill it in by the old-fashioned method. Okay, so remember bronwyn.tarrant@unimelb.edu.au, or contact me via the phone number, so 9035 7811. Okay, thanks very much.